Well, hello there. Thank you for joining us here at Coolest Life. My name is Tony, and I'm here to take you through the big question. So you want to become a Mason. So let me try to give you some insight as far as what you should know ahead of time and just exactly what you're joining and a little bit about the process of you becoming a member. And what do I know about this? I'll give you my credentials in just a minute. But first, I just want to say welcome to Coolest Life, and let's go ahead and get to it. Because you've just entered the Coolest Life, Masonic Edition. So you want to become a Mason. You've done your research and you found out a little bit about the organizations, and you said to yourself, yeah, I think I want to join that. Maybe because your brother was a member, or your dad was a member, or your granddad, or the neighbor, or someone you had a lot of respect for, someone you held in high regard was a Mason. So maybe you thought, well, maybe it'd be an organization I want to join. So let me tell you a little bit about the process and a little bit about some different things. I want to tell you something here. I am by no means the overall expert on Masonry. However, if you're going to learn about Masonry, at least you should learn from a Mason. I am indeed a Mason. I was initiated back in 2012. I became a master of my first lodge in 2018, master of my second lodge in 2019. So I know a little bit about Masonry, okay, at least in my jurisdiction and how things function. Because every jurisdiction is a little bit different. When I say jurisdiction, ideally I'm basically saying each state or commonwealth. So that would be a particular, like the jurisdiction of Georgia or the one of Texas. So I know about those jurisdictions. I will say this, to add to my credentials, I should say. I'm a member of Scottish Rite, Shrine, and York Rite. And York Rite, locally, I've held all three high positions of the York Rite, which is High Priest, Commander of the Commandery, and Venerable Master for Council and Chapters, respectively. And also, I was a three-year General Secretary of our Valley Scottish Rite. So, and I was a Vice President of our local Shrine Club. So, I know a little bit about Masonry. I do say I've not been a member of the Grotto. My wife was a member of the Eastern Star. We joined the Amaranth together. So, there's a lot going on in Masonry. And what I'm going to talk to you today here is about the first 3 degrees of Masonry. And when I say that, don't let someone tell you, well, I know so-and-so, he's a 33rd degree Mason. No such thing as a 33rd degree Mason. There is a such thing as a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason, but a 33rd degree has nothing to do with Shrine. It's got nothing to do with York Rite. It's got nothing to do with Grotto. It's got nothing to do with Eastern Star, and it's got nothing to do with your Blue Lodge, which is your first 3 degrees. Your Inner Apprentice, your Fellow Craft, and your Master Mason. Okay? So let's get that straight. Anyone who says they're a 33rd degree Mason either is lying or they don't know what they're talking about, one of the two. Okay? Or maybe they're just confused. It's a pet peeve of mine. Sorry, I had to hit that really quick. I've got some notes here in front of me while I'm looking down here at this. What you need to know ahead of time. Masonry is not the animal clubs. Elks, moose, lions. It's not the animal clubs. Nothing wrong with those clubs. Many Masons are members of those clubs. My mom is actually an elk, come to think of it. It's not the same. Masonry is a fraternity. It is more closely aligned with college fraternities. Also, there's the only other fraternity I can think of is Knights of Columbus, I believe, are a fraternity, and the Odd Fellows are a fraternity. So there are some other fraternities out there. Masonry just happens to be the largest one. Larger than any college fraternity. Yes, Masonry is definitely larger than that. So, this also isn't a veterans club, VFW. It's not one of those. It's just not. It's different. Qualifications. What are the qualifications you need to be in Masonry? There are certain qualifications. Some would say you're a man. You're coming under the tongue of good repute, not ill repute, and also you're at least 18 years of age. Most states or most jurisdictions, you must be 18 years of age. Okay, so understand that. Georgia went to 18, I think, 4 years ago. So it hasn't been all that long. Male. This is a fraternity. It is not for women. It is not for people who are women that think they're males. It is a fraternity. It is no different in that case as a college fraternity. It is not a sorority. The sorority equivalent would be Eastern Star, because Eastern Star was founded by the ladies of Masonry that were basically married or somehow affiliated, and it started as a purely female organization. The Rainbow Girls in Masonry are for young ladies that are interested in the rituals that have to do with Masonry and are somewhat affiliated, just like the Demolay boys are. So they're all boys. The Rainbows are all girls, and Freemasonry, for the most part, in most jurisdictions, all the ones in the United States. I hear there are some jurisdictions over in England that do allow ladies involved. So I don't think I can sit in a lodge with a lady. I don't believe so. I definitely can't go. Yeah. None of them can. If they're a full-fledged Mason in another country, they cannot sit in one of our lodges. That's just part of the rules. Under the tongue of good repute. Okay, this is Masonry. In some jurisdictions, they do a background check. So first off, we say you're going to do a petition or an application, and you do not need to lie on that thing. If they find out that you've lied on that thing, there's nothing worse in this organization than a liar. I'm telling you, there is nothing worse in this organization than a liar. Be honest, there's nothing that's going to discount you from becoming a member faster than lying on your petition. So just be honest. They'll have questions of, have you ever been divorced? What were the reasons for your divorce? Just be honest. Have you ever been arrested? What was it for? Just be honest. Understand, Masonry is not rehab. We don't want guys straight out of prison after being on death row or whatever, and they're trying to do themselves better. They got a lot more problems than we've got the facilities and the people to fix, okay? So get that part of your life straight. Doesn't mean that if someone who's an ex-con can't be a Mason. There aren't many that I know of. But I'm just saying, this is not rehab. It's not what this organization is. You must, and the other one that actually isn't part of, I guess it is part of the prerequisites, is you must believe in a higher power. Okay? So Masonry does not accept agnostics, atheists, or polytheists, which is people that believe in there's a sun god, there's the lake god, there's the sky god, there's the water god, and the god of the trees, the gods of the animals. This is not for you. This is not for you. Part of that is we take oaths and raise our right hand, put your hand on a Bible, and take an oath. If you have a problem with that, maybe this isn't the organization for you. I will say this. So I've gotten some feedback from some people that say, well, you just can't do that. That's against the Bible. You can't talk about that stuff. You can't take an oath. Really? Interesting. Guess what I did when I entered the military? I took an oath. Does that mean that's against the Bible? My son's a chaplain in the military. Something just doesn't sound right there, no, does it? As a politician, you take an oath of office. As a doctor, you take a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. As a lawyer, you take an oath. Okay? So there's lots of organizations out there that require an oath before you can take an office. Masonry is no different in that case. So let's get on past it. But you must believe in a higher power. That higher power can be Buddha. It can be Allah. It can be Jireh, Jehovah, Jesus, whoever you want to be your higher power. Now, in Christianity, we say Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but we do say that they are basically one. Okay, so that would be our one God. First thing you're going to do is fill out a petition. All right? So a petition is basically an application for membership. And so we want you to be honest, as I mentioned before, and you have those qualifications. And we ask you those questions, do you believe in a higher power on that application or that petition? After you fill out the application, you're going to give that back to maybe your first line signer. Your first line signer is on your application. You're going to have a first line signer, a second line signer. Those should be people who know you or people that you've known the best. Some states say you have to have known a Mason 1 year before you can actually give them a petition. You can't just come in and walk off the streets and hand them a petition. Some states you can do that, but they may lay it over for a little bit and invite you to their dinners. Everyone, to my knowledge, in most jurisdictions, everyone can come to their dinner. Now, when is that scheduled? Anytime they have a regular communication, which you can find on their website or the state website or wherever, find out when they're meeting. If they meet at 7, then go 1 hour before that, they're more than likely going to have dinner at 6. Typically, it's 1 hour. If they meet at 7:30, 6:30. Call that lodge and find out if they're having dinner a certain day. What you don't want to do is show up an hour early and you're in a parking lot by yourself. So do that. But you can go to dinner, meet with the guys, and chit chat and everything else, and tell them, say, yeah, you want to petition the lodge. So that's great. You can do that. So once you fill out the petition and send it in, someone will be your first and second line signer. Then they're going to have an investigation committee. They're going to get 3 people, and this is, I'm giving this to you as understand. Not everything that I say here is going to be exact to every jurisdiction. Some jurisdictions can vary. Maybe they only require 2 people to do the investigation. Most I've seen require 3 people to do the investigation. When they do that investigation, they're going to take a copy of your petition. They're going to read through it really good, and they're going to want to meet with you. Sometimes they might meet downstairs after the meeting. And I say downstairs because so many lodges, upstairs there was a lodge room, and downstairs is the dining room. So they'll meet with you in the dining room and chit chat with you a little bit. Ideally, most jurisdictions say meet with them at their home, meet with them one-on-one. In other words, you got 3 different guys coming to you 3 different days, and meet with them one-on-one, and they want their wife to be present because nothing can stop your Masonic journey faster than a wife who is not all in. I just want to say that, be perfectly blunt. Nothing can stop that, can put a screeching halt on it faster than a wife who's going to find you a honey-do list when she knows good and well you got a lodge meeting that night that you need to be at. And that's on commitment, which I'll talk with you in just a minute about. So anyway, now that investigation can't happen downstairs, and all 3 of those guys might sit around a table, and it's just you and those 3 guys, and they're drilling you full of questions. All they're doing is asking you questions about yourself. Where do you go to church? What kind of work do you do? What makes you want to join Masonry? Different questions like that. Easy questions that you can answer. Because again, they're just trying to get to know you. And who knows the person better than you do? Nobody does. You know you. So what's going to happen then is that petition is going to go to lodge. And they're going to vote on it. And it might not be that night. It might be in 2 weeks. It might be next month. But they're going to vote on that. And basically, these brothers that might say 2 of them really liked you and 1 of them didn't. He said unfavorable. Hopefully, all 3 of them are going to like you. Now, someone in that lodge might know you outside of the lodge. Might know you from, they used to work with you at a past job or whatever, and they might bring something up that they might bring a reason up. They said, no, you guys don't. He might stand up in lodge and say, they're ready to petition. You read your petition. See if I say this correctly. And then he says, hey, I work with this guy, and I know for a fact that this guy was fired for this job for stealing from the company. That's why he was let go. I don't think we want this guy here. He could say that. Or he can show that through the ballot box. Because the ballot box, when we vote on your petition, must be unanimous. It is not a show of hands. It is a secret ballot. If you check out some other videos, you'll see some different ballot boxes I have from all over the different lodges. I try to, if I do a video of a lodge, I try to show you the ballot box that they have for that lodge. So, and many are very different, but it must be unanimous vote. We might say white balls. So you get all white balls in there for unanimous vote, and then you're good. So, it's going to be unanimous vote. At that point, once that happens, they will schedule your initiation. So there will be a night set aside for initiation. It might be at a regular communication. It may not. There's a lot of them in Florida that actually, they don't ever do any of that except for on a Saturday. They'll do initiations. And that's the only time they ever do it. I think Sarasota Lodge is one of those. That's just the way they do business. A lot of lodges will just do it at a regular communication, and they might forego some non-essential meeting information that they have to cover, so they'll get in your initiation, because it takes a while. It might take you an hour. It might take 2 hours. It may take 3 hours. It just depends on your jurisdiction, and you can find out the people that signed your petition when you do your petition. When the investigation is going on, say, hey, how long does the initiation take? And they'll tell you, Ours takes about an hour and a half is all it is. So you can go with that. Unanimous vote initiation. So that's going to happen at one of those meetings. Now, what happens at your initiation? Let me just say this: wear underwear. That's all I'm going to say. Wear underwear. Nothing else after that. I'm not saying anything. Every jurisdiction is a little bit different. 60% of all initiations are exactly the same from one jurisdiction to the next. And I can only say that because I've sat in 27 different jurisdictions. Yeah, 27 different jurisdictions I've sat in lodge. I've seen the inter-apprentice degree in about 12. So they're pretty much the same. They're pretty much the same what happens there at those initiations. So nothing you can't survive. So now you got to think about, is this something I really want to do? And when I mention meetings, all we ask is that you attend meetings. No one can miss you if you're not attending. Okay, so attend a meeting. Whatever the meeting is, say you got every second and fourth Tuesday or first and third Friday or whenever your meeting is, most jurisdictions and most lodges meet on either a Tuesday or Thursday. Some meet on Mondays, like Fort Benning Lodge does. And every now and then some meets on Friday, but normally it's Tuesday and Thursday. And every now and then you find one that meets on Wednesday. On a regular basis. You might have some daylight lodges that only meet once a quarter, but the daylight lodges don't typically do initiations. They just don't. They do that at the regular, at a regular Blue Lodge. Daylight lodges are normally made up of people from lots of different lodges that have a tendency. It was initially set up because some brothers have problems driving at night or getting transportation in the evening. So they made up daylight lodges. They normally meet at noon, somewhere around in there, 10 o'clock maybe, once a month, and they still have a master, but they do everything else the same other than that for the most part. Well, I hope it gives you some information on and helps you decide and kind of opens your eyes up to the process of becoming a Mason and why you might want to join. It's not like the Elks, the Moose, and the VFW. It's just different. Not that there aren't Masons in those organizations, because there are. I know plenty. But be serious about it and be thinking about it. And it's no one wants to invest the time and effort it takes to initiate, pass, and raise you, and then you not attend anymore. You're wasting everybody's time. Don't waste everybody's time. I would recommend you, me being an over 10 plus year member, I would recommend you joining and becoming an active member and learning some of the lectures that you will hear throughout your Masonic journey, and also getting involved in other initiations and Master Masons raisings, and also maybe even become an officer and work your way up through the line. Well, I hope this helps. Maybe helps you make a decision on whether you want to become a Mason or not. And send this to your friends if they're on the fence about becoming a Mason, so they can kind of know the process and what to do. And if you have any questions, leave them down below in the description. I'll be glad to answer them as much as I can. But I'm going to let you go, because I need to get back out here living the coolest life, Masonic edition.